Malaysia's former Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad has lost his seat as results start trickling in for the national elections. It's his first electoral defeat in 53 years. Polls closed earlier on Saturday, with three main alliances battling for power. Mahathir lost to a candidate from former Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin's coalition. It's being called the most competitive election in Malaysia's history. The country has been plagued by political instability, with three prime ministers in the last 4 years. Florence Louis joins us live from Malaysia's capital, Kuala Lumpur. Florence, what do we know so far?
Well, the results so far are as largely as what surveys have predicted, that there would be no party with a clear majority. No one party has got enough seats to form government on its own. Now, this means that the smaller parties would be in a position to play kingmaker, and I expect negotiations and horse trading would have already started behind closed doors. Now, as you mentioned, this one surprise is that Mahathir Mohamad has lost his seat. Now, he's not only lost his seat, he has lost his deposit because he's not managed to gain more than 1/8 of votes that were cast. Now, his party has also not managed to win a single seat. And Mahathir Mohamad is a veteran politician. He was Prime Minister of Malaysia twice. He came out of political retirement in his 90s for the last general election. He combined forces with the opposition and led them to their first electoral victory. Now, it's a major surprise that not only has he lost, but he's lost in such spectacular fashion. But analysts had largely predicted that his party would not be able to win a single seat, mainly because voters are pragmatic and they did not fancy that his party would have any chance in forming government.
And Florence, what sort of implications are there from the numbers we're seeing so far?
So we have the numbers, the official results from the Election Commission now put the National Alliance and the main opposition, the Alliance of Hope, neck and neck. And this is with about 10 seats left to go out of 222 seats in Parliament. Now, the logical step, I imagine, would be for the National Alliance to go into partnership with the National Front. These are parties that were already working together in the previous government when Parliament was dissolved. So it makes sense for them to go into partnership again. And that means the status quo would be maintained. Now, there are several implications of this. One, it means that corrupt politicians or politicians who've been tainted with corruption charges, who are from the National Front, they will remain in power. Yes, some of them have lost their parliamentary seats during this election, but they still hold positions of power within the party, and if their party is back in power, they will remain powerful. The other implication is it appears from the results that voters have continued to vote along racial and religious lines. The National Front and the National Alliance are parties that champion Malay special rights and privileges. Now, the Malay ethnic group is the majority group in Malaysia. They form about 70% of the population. And this largely means that voters appear to have rejected the opposition's proposal that the government move away from providing assistance based on race rather than on needs. So Malaysia, it appears, will continue to be divided along racial and religious lines for years to come. Now, the final implication is if National Front and the National Alliance continue to work together as they've done in the past 2 years, it doesn't mean Malaysia will be necessarily more politically stable. Yes, these two parties were in partnership, but it was a partnership that was affected by infighting as well. And there's no reason to believe that a second stab at this partnership will be